Have you ever looked at a university today and thought, this feels a lot like a business? Or maybe it feels like something else, a complex web of partnerships, or even a pillar of the local community? Well, it turns out there are these hidden forces, these playbooks, really, that are shaping how they're run. Today, we're going to pull back that curtain. Let's dive in. So here's the plan. We're going to start by breaking down what steering even means in this context. Then we'll get into the three big playbooks governments use. You've got the market model, the network model, and the democratic model. And then we'll wrap up by looking at how mixing and matching these is really defining the future for all of us.
I mean, it's a feeling a lot of us have, right? You see the rising tuition, this constant obsession with university rankings, and you hear leaders talking less like academics and more like CEOs. It's a massive change, and it's totally fair to wonder, what is going on here? Well, here's the thing. It's not random. Not at all. This is happening by design. It's a deliberate strategy. The government, the state, is actively steering higher education to hit certain policy goals. And believe me, that's a huge break from how things used to be.
Okay, so let's get right to it. That's the key word right there, steering. What does it actually mean?
All right, so the official definition is a bit of a mouthful, but here's the simple version. Steering is basically all the levers and buttons a government can pull to influence how universities act. It's like the state is grabbing the steering wheel of the university system and pointing it towards big national goals. Like boosting the economy or improving society.
And this is a really big deal because it marks a massive shift. The old way of doing things, it was all about academic autonomy. The idea was to keep universities separate, insulated from government influence. But now, we're in a totally different era of active steering. The state isn't just a bystander anymore, it's a very hands-on player.
All right, let's jump into our first playbook. And this is one you're probably going to recognize. It's the market model. This is the one that's all about bringing the logic of the business world straight into the halls of academia.
The theory behind this is called New Public Management, or NPM for short. It really took off back in the 80s with this core idea. Let's make public services, and yeah, that includes universities, run more like super efficient businesses. And what's the recipe for that? Well, it's pretty simple. Competition, measuring everything, and putting strong CEO-style leaders in charge.
So what does this actually look like on the ground? Well, you see universities battling it out for students and for money. You see student fees, which kind of turn students into consumers who are looking for value for money. Budgets get tighter. Everything, and I mean everything, gets measured, ranked, and audited. And power? It shifts to these strong, business-like managers. You even start to see things like performance-related pay for faculty.
But wait, competition isn't the only game in town. There's another playbook out there, and it takes a totally different tack. Let's talk about playbook number 2, the network model.
Okay, so the core idea here is that the state gets, hollowed out. It's not about top-down commands anymore. Instead, power is spread out across this whole web of different groups and organizations. The government's role changes. It becomes more of a facilitator, steering things indirectly through partnerships and gentle persuasion. It's way less about direct control and a lot more about coordination.
And the whole vibe is completely different. Forget competition, now the magic word is collaboration. You see universities working with local city councils, national agencies, even big EU-level bodies. The government is kind of the ring holder, bringing everyone together. And leadership? It's all about being a great networker, not just a boss. A great example of this is the rise of these big university groups, like the League of European Research Universities, or LAIRD.
All right, that brings us to our third and final playbook, the democratic model. This one shifts the focus right back to the idea of the university as a truly public institution, serving the people.
The thinking behind this is called the neo-Weberian state, which sounds complicated, but it's actually a pretty cool hybrid. It basically takes the old-school, traditional way of running public services, with clear rules and processes, and gives it a modern update. It re-emphasizes the state's role in democratic accountability, but it adds this really important new focus on what citizens actually need and want.
So what are the telltale signs of this playbook? Well, you see a much bigger focus on accountability. Elected politicians are suddenly paying close attention to university policy. You might see key leaders, like the rector, actually getting elected. There's a huge emphasis on doing things by the book, on preserving a real public service culture, and on talking to actual citizens through things like focus groups. It's all about reinforcing the university's place as a cornerstone of the local community.
Okay, so let's put it all together. The market model? It's all about efficiency, using competition to give power to managers and consumers.
The network model, its goal is collaboration and solving problems together, with power spread out among all the partners. And the democratic model, it's looking for legitimacy, using laws and public input to make sure citizens and their representatives are the ones in the driver's seat.
So there you have it, 3 very different playbooks. But the big question is, what does this actually mean for the real world, for the university in your town?
Well, here's the twist. In reality, you almost never see a system using just one of these playbooks. It's not that clean-cut. They're pretty much always hybrids. So you could have one university that's fiercely competing for research grants, that's the market playbook, while also being part of a huge international research network, that's the network playbook, and it might even elect its own president, that's the democratic playbook. Every system creates its own unique blend.
And that really leaves us with the biggest questions of all, doesn't it? As these different playbooks are mixed and matched, shaping the very soul of our universities, we have to stop and ask ourselves, what should a university even be for? Should it be an engine for the economy, a hub for solving global problems, or a cornerstone of our democracy? And maybe the most important question of all, who gets to decide?